Hello everyone, this is part 28 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto needed some time to himself for once, so today found him on top of the Uzumaki Tower. Mei and her guards had one more day here before leaving back to Kirikaga, and Naruto had decided she and Gaara should meet at least once. Gaara and his escorts were hanging out in Wave for a few more days, and he knew they would be looking forward to a meeting with the other island nation. The rest of the Konoha group had been informed of what had happened as much as they could, but Naruto figured he would have to sit down with them all personally soon. For Team 7 though, Naruto at least promised them that they would always be welcome here in Uzushio. He left them with paper Haration tags at the least, so he could come and visit them often. Sasuke had made him promise to come visit his home with his girls at least once or twice, now that he had visited Uzu. The memory put a smile on Naruto's face as he looked out over the city. Uzushio had friends in other nations now, and security was strengthening. Now it was just a matter of making sure the last two offenders wouldn't try anything crazy. Feeling a small spike of chakra behind him, he looked back as it was Hinata and Ino who were climbing up onto the roof to walk towards him. Hey there, Whiskers. Thought we might find you here. Ino was all smiles as she came to sit down on his left, comfortably looking out over the city with him. On his right, Hinata did the same, though she leaned into his shoulder, prompting him to wrap an arm around her softly. Yeah, just needed a moment was all. Naruto returned to looking out over the noonday city. We're going to have to put teams together, we have 3 targets. Hinata had her eyes closed as she just enjoyed the closeness. We're marching on sound then. Naruto nods, yeah. The goal is for all 3 teams to find the bases at staggered times hopefully. They summon me, we'll raid them and destroy the remains, and return here to Uzushio. Of course, the final base with Orochimaru is less a raid and more a planned destruction. That snake has gotten away from me one too many times. Ino chuckled and slapped a hand on her knee. Tayuya is going to be mad if she isn't put on that team. Don't I know it? And it'll happen. Naruto turned his eyes upward as he thought further along. After that, we'll relax, work out our standing in the world, and I'm going to be gone for a few months. Ino sighed, some of the wind out of her sails, going to train with the toads then. Yeah, shouldn't take long though. A few months tops. They had become a bit more insistent with him lately. He didn't want to keep putting him off and had promised that he would come once Uzushio was stable. Now that it was, or at least soon would be, he couldn't fight it anymore. I'll still find ways to get in contact with you all and keep you updated. Hinata shook her head, you shouldn't. You'll need to focus 100% on your training if you want to complete it quickly and return to us. Here she poked him in the side gently, we will be fine, Naruto. Don't worry so much. Ino bumped him on the other shoulder, she's right, you know, you worry a lot. Fine. I'll train hard and fast and come back to you all super strong and ready to defend Uzushio from the world if need be. Naruto finally reached out and wrapped an arm around Ino, dragging her into him. More than that though, I might take a trip with Jiraiya at least once, probably not as long though. Grumbling and keeping her own thoughts of the old pervert to herself, Ino finally laid her head on his shoulder, you better not come back just as perverted as him. Naruto chuckled, I thought you girls liked me being a pervert. Hinata poked him again, yes, with us. But not a womanizer like him. Hi. I'll make sure not to turn out like him. Good. Ino settled back down as they watched the people down below. How long do you think it'll take for Jirabu to make it back to Orochimaru? I give it 2 weeks. 3 max. We banged him up pretty good to really sell it that his squad was wiped out at the border before reaching us. Naruto couldn't wait for Orochimaru to get his present. You're evil. I try sometimes. They sat there together for a while longer, just enjoying the view and each other. Naruto wondered briefly if there was a way he could guarantee every day would be like this. Peaceful yet busy. Behind them they heard another shuffle and Naruto looked back as Kotohime was pulling herself up to stand behind them. The Kazekage and the Mizukage will be arriving soon. She didn't want to interrupt the 3 but work was calling. All three of the relaxing ninja knew their time was limited, and with some shuffling and a groan they were all three up and following Kotohime back down into the tower. Naruto couldn't help but try to feel out with his chakra. I don't feel Karen or Honoka nearby, they out training. Kotohime nods from her place in front of them as they walk through the halls of their home towards the elevators. They both decided to go train together with their sealing arts. They've gone out to the fortress with Sasam and Kin. Ino raised an eyebrow. What are those two doing out there? Training as well. That's what they said. Jugo was apparently going to spend the day on the beach, communing with nature, he said. Naruto nods. I really can't wait to see what nature chakra is all about. Ino shook her head. You're already stupid powerful, like you need another boost. Naruto can't help but chuckle. Maybe he'll get strong enough to break the moon in half one day. Hinata smacked him in the back of the head. No. Bad Naruto. No breaking the world. Sharing a laugh, they all travel down into the tower proper, ready to get this next meeting underway. B. Itachi was one who could follow orders to the letter and then some. Having been inducted into the ninja corps at such a young age, the idea of true free will didn't really appeal to him. That said, the normally quiet and introspective noob nin could appreciate certain freedoms. The freedom to murder certain people high on that list. Leader had decided that the teams needed to be shuffled a bit, and thus, he and Deidara were escorting Conan back to the land of Wave. It wasn't like she needed the protection, to be honest, but Pain had decided that they were going to make this somewhat official. And also, just in case things went south, it would be good to have one person who could potentially control the QB and another who could counter high explosives. At least in theory. That would be, of course, if Itachi didn't kill the loudmouth blonde before they got to their destination. So I'm thinking, he obviously doesn't use explosive release like I do, so his art must revolve around seals somehow. It's a masterwork really, and I'll want some time to pick his brain and maybe we can exchange notes back and forth. He'll have to be impressed with what I've been able to do with my own art as well, so I think that'll be a good into getting his attention. Granted, I think he's the better and I'll make sure to butter him up as much as possible. Anyone. Itachi tuned out the ranting Deidara as he walked along next to the other member of the group. Conan was as usual her quiet and aloof self. Ever the picture of traditional beauty, at least she wasn't one he had to worry about. Conan, do you believe we can keep things civil with our group? I must remind you, Naruto has chosen to join my brother in killing me. And wasn't that just humorous? To think Sasuke would seek help in his revenge. Conan was thinking that she might have let her fantasies play out a bit too much in her mind, which had led to this less than optimal decision. Deidara wasn't a bad pick, even if he wouldn't shut the hell up, but Itachi both was and wasn't. When needed he would be calm and collected, able to make level decisions when necessary. While on the other, yes, Naruto might just jump to killing him on sight before she had a chance to explain. Maybe she could keep him confined to a room before meeting with Naruto. I believe Naruto is strong enough to look beyond issues of the past if it means an alliance. But, your worries are noted. I am just traveling in order to extend an invitation to him so he may meet with Pain. You might have to stay within my hotel room until I return. Yes, that wasn't a bad idea, stay in the room, get comfy. Itachi hummed at that, I suppose. It is your decision in the end. Pain had been very clear about what would happen to either of them if harm came to Conan. Itachi believed himself powerful for sure, but even he wasn't suicidal enough to fight against a fully mature Rinnegan. They still had a few days before reaching Wave anyway, so they could brainstorm and come up with plans. Behind them Deidara had continued along as if this was his own special mission. Surely the young master wouldn't mind a quick spare or two. We could trade ideas and theories. Maybe grow close enough to really bond with one another, yeah. Yes, I think this'll be a good time to discuss a real partnership from here on. Truly a momentous occasion lays ahead that. Itachi just sighed and turned a tired eye to Conan. I'm going to kill him. Conan looked his way before shaking her head. Please don't, can you imagine what kind of replacement we'll receive if he dies? They both shuddered at that. With their luck, it would be someone even more insane than him. Somewhere far away, Obito sneezed. B. Naruto sat at the head of the large meeting table. To his right sat Gaara, hands folded neatly on the table, while to his left sat Mei, relaxed back into her chair with her hands in her lap. While the atmosphere wasn't tense, it wasn't a fully friendly feeling. Ao and Chojuro weren't quiet glaring at Naruto, but he could certainly feel their eyes on him. Gaara, however, had all of the tact of a still recovering super introvert. Please tell me you and the Mizukage didn't have relations of some sort. Behind him, Kankuro turned wide reverent eyes towards Naruto while Temari could only giggle and shake her head. Naruto quickly shook his, no, nothing like that. Nope, I'd never. Mei pouted a bit, or Uzumaki-sama, and we had gotten so close in the bath too. She wasn't worried, she knew the young lord found her attractive and that was more than enough for now. Ino and Hinata behind him giggled while Naruto nearly panicked as Chojuro was reaching for his weapon. Hey now. You know who's missing here, we need Tsunade, yeah. Let me go get Tsunade. With a flash, he was gone. Hinata turned to the older Mizukage, that was mean Terumi-sama. Giggling and waving a hand away, the older woman enjoyed the teasing, but it was fun. But no, Subaku-sama, Naruto and I have not had relations, as you put it. Gaara only nodded, not seeing the issue. Understood. Your business is your own, I just wish for this alliance to be fair for all parties involved. Mei had a glint in her eye that nearly sent Temari and Kankuro running. Oh ho, so would it be fair if I joined you for a bath then? Mizukage-sama. Ao and Chojuro were quick to reprimand her, though she waved them all just as easily as Gaara chuckled. We are in a zoo and I've heard that is the custom here. Gaara, however, noticed Ino and Hinata looked a bit nervous. Should we be worried that Naruto left to go get the Hokage? Ino chuckled and scratched at her neck. Well, it wasn't something we had planned. Surely he would explain things properly, right? Naruto was nothing if not his usual self. Flashing into the Hokage's office and interrupting a meeting between Tsunade, Jiraiya, Danzo and the other elder members of the council. Yo old bastard, I need to borrow the old lady for a few minutes. Tsunade was already up and slamming her hands on her desk. What have I told you about just showing up whenever you want? Naruto was already dragging a surprised Jiraiya by the collar towards her, do it often and without warning. That is the exact opposite of what I said. Danzo was frowning as Naruto grabbed Tsunade by the wrist. We're in the middle of something important, boy. Naruto turned a bored eye towards the old man. God, you're still alive. I'd stay away from windows and long stairs if I were you. And then they were gone. A flash and disturbed papers were all that was left. No, scratch that. A miniature Naruto was left behind on the chair, idly flipping a kunai in the air. I'm just here to make sure nothing stupid happens. Danzo was already scoffing and turning away. This brat acts like he owns the place. And our weak cage won't do anything about it. Homura was the first to point out something. We do still owe him a lot of money. She seems to be giving him some leeway because of that. Danzo wanted to toss the weak-willed counselor out the window, but refrained. If you say so. We'll have to continue this meeting later then. The little Naruto was already standing on the desk. She'll be back in like 10 minutes, tops. Here the clone narrowed its gaze on Danzo. Unless you wanna play a game with me to pass the time. That Danzo seemed to hurry along a bit faster after that, set the clone snickering and relaxing back. Maybe it could leave a little present for Bar-chan. Naruto was suddenly back in the meeting room, a slightly woozy Tsunade held up next to him while Jiraiya was dropped to the floor. And I'm back. While he felt like things went just fine and thus he was ignoring everything else, he certainly felt the fist that smashed into the back of his head. You brat. Some warning would be nice. Vein pulsing on her forehead, the elder Hokage could feel her blood pressure rising. Oh come on Bar-chan, live a little. I'll live longer if you quit trying to scare me half to death. Just give it up and come retire with me then. You'll love it here. Naruto was up and wiggling his eyebrows as Tsunade seemed to really consider it. See, you're thinking about it. Tsunade smacked him one more time as he led her to a seat next to Gaara. Shush brat, you can't tempt me. We get regular shipments of spring vodka now and we have one island I can build a beach home on that has a natural hot spring. Oh do you? Please my good boy, tell me more. Hook, line, and sinker. Jiraiya was finally up. Tsunade-heim, please don't let him lead you astray. We still have so much work to do back home. Unless of course the old pervert was invited along, then he was all for it. Naruto however just pointed at the old pervert. He knew what would sway him. Azushio's population is something like 70% female. Jiraiya faltered, is that so? Naruto was nodding while Tsunade rolled her eyes and Ino and Hinata both shook their heads. Aha. And look, I'm working on an alliance with a real beauty as well. Naruto lazily pointed towards Mei, winking at her as the older woman smiled and waved at Jiraiya. Jiraiya instantly forgave anything and everything Naruto ever said or did to him. You know, my boy, did I ever tell you that you were my favorite apprentice? You could stand to tell me more often. Jiraiya, however, was already sidling up next to Mei. Good afternoon, lovely. Why, who would have guessed such a rare bloom would find its way here to Azushio? Tell me, what land and family do you hail from? Surely I would have heard of you by now. Laying it on thick, Jiraiya put on his best lady killer smile. Naruto, however, was back to the head of the table. That would be Mei Terumi. Naruto sat and waved to her guards, who were stuck between wanting to beat the tar out of Jiraiya and realizing a Sannin would make short work of them. You know, newest Mizukage to Kirigakure. Jiraiya slowly turned wide eyes to Naruto. Mizu. Mei nodded, voice sultry. Oh, please do go on, Jiraiya-sama. I'd love to hear more. This was simply delightful. Naruto knew how to have fun and make these normally stuffy proceedings easier to handle. I didn't mean to offend. Tsunade rolled her eyes. Will you get over here so we can get through this and back home? I'm sure the council is going to be in an uproar over this. Which she knew they would be, not that she cared. Something odd was going on with Danzo lately. He was being even more cagey than usual. Jiraiya nodded and slunk his way back to her side. Sure thing, Haim. Naruto chuckled and knocked on the table. So, we've laid out that Suna and Kiri will ally themselves with Azu. That's great, but I have my own personal interest as well that I want to bring up. Tsunade nods first. You want us to back Azushio as you come out as both a major nation and you as its cage. Right. Naruto nodded with a smile. Got it. No argument from me. It'll be good to see that stuffy Onoki sweat a bit. Naruto nods. He might be sweating already anyway. What did you do? Tsunade could already feel another headache coming on. Just beat the shit out of his granddaughter. Never mind, I don't want to know any more. Tsunade had to resist the urge to bang her head on the table. It's a good story. Naruto looked to Jiraiya, full of adventure and hijinks. Ino smacked him. Right. Another time. Gaara nodded as well. Suna will stand with Azu as well. Both as trade partners, and friends. Gaara was still learning about what it meant to have friends, but Naruto was helping him along. He'd have to make sure Naruto visited again soon. They needed to have a friendly spar, something that didn't devolve into a death match. Mei didn't have any qualms with things as well. I have no arguments against this as well, though we may need help if Kumo comes sniffing. Naruto nods. I might owe them a beating or two anyway. So you let me know if they give you any trouble. Seeing Mei nod, Naruto clapped his hands together. Then I guess that's it. I'd say from here we can set up ambassador teams to travel back and forth to negotiate the specifics. Tsunade leans back and stretches, hands high over her head. We've already got things as settled as need be for now. We'll be sending a payment back with your next visit as well. Who are you sending? Naruto pointed towards Ino. Haim again. She's been catching up with her parents each visit. Seeing Tsunade nod but not say anything, Gaara chimes in. I know Temari prefers to make this trip, though for now the best route is through the Land of Fire. Perhaps after the airship's demonstration we can have a more direct line of travel between us. Yeah, I need to talk to Kyuki about that soon. We should be ready for our first test pretty quick. Naruto turned to see Tsunade's questioning look. Oh yeah, you weren't here for that. Spring built airships and now we're thinking about using them as both our overland transport to areas that we don't have trains as well as a more luxury transport system. Tsunade hummed at that, thinking it over. The daimyo would love that, I'm sure. Never mind every other well-funded noble across the nations. Mei could agree with that. It would also give another option for us as well. Shipping over the ocean is nice and all, but prone to pirates. Airships would negate that worry. Naruto frowned. Do you have a pirate problem? Not at the moment, but it has been a worry in the past. Mei looked back towards Ao, who shook his head. Well, like I said, we're going to be allies now, so whatever may be of concern to you, make sure to let me know. Naruto turned to look at everyone. Then well, if we're all in agreement, I guess I should take Tsunade and Jiraiya back. Gaara, however, held up a hand as he turned to Tsunade. What does your council have to say about the mission scalping from the land of wind? Sighing and shaking her head, Sunit could only hold up her hands in defeat. In good faith we always attempt to convince your daimyo to use your own village for missions, but well, you can guess what he's had to say about you. It's tapered off a bit, but I acknowledge that the amount of missions we receive from wind is very high. Gaara sat and watched her for a minute, thinking and gauging her before nodding and sitting back. As long as some effort is made, Suna knows we have to improve and rebuild our image. It is not all Konoha's fault. Gaara gave her a rare grin. We won't be second to you forever. I like your spunk, kid. Your village should be proud. Mei was turning to Sunit as well. I received your invitation to your next Chunin exams. Seeing Sunit nod, Mei almost felt bad for declining. We'll have to wave off till next year. No offense, but we have some internal matters to deal with first. Sunit could understand that. At least it wasn't a flat refusal without some type of reasoning. Well, I hope to see you next year then. I'm sure the brat is going to stop at nothing to help you out. I'm right here, you know. Mei giggled and nodded. He is very driven. Single-minded, I like to say. I can hear you. Sunit waved him off as Mei smiled and looked to Gaara instead. While we are separated by a large distance, know that if we can help you at all, in any way, we will. Gaara bowed his head lightly. We appreciate the sentiment, Mizukage. Please, just Mei is fine. Then please address me as the same Mei. It's Gaara. Seeing that things were actually done, Naruto was quick to make a pair of clones that walked around to Sunit and Jiraiya. I'll make sure to come and visit a bit when things calm down here. We have some business to finish up. Sunit nodded as the clone held her shoulder firmly. You wouldn't happen to know anything about Danzo being jumpy, would you? Seeing his grin, the older woman sighed. I shouldn't ask obvious questions, huh? Naruto waved a hand. It'll be good for you. And then the pair were gone while Naruto was making to stand, Gaara and Mei doing the same. Welp, like I said before, enjoy the city as much as you'd like, and if you have any questions just come find me. Mei, however, was turning back to Rao and Chojuro. We have, perhaps, been here a bit longer than we thought. So we shall make our way back home. Here she turned and bowed to the young man. May the sea winds be in your favor, young Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto turned and bowed to her as well. May the fallen guide your path, Mei Terumi. Exchanging their own local saying with her, the older woman smiled as Hinata made a motion and a team from the Hotaru clan opened the door leading out. Mei, Ao, and Chojuro bowed. Everyone assembled before leaving with the Azu team. They had a lot to think about and even more to announce to their village. Left behind, Gaara turned to Naruto, who grinned and hooked a thumb towards the window. Have you had a chance to explore yet? Gaara shook his head. Not yet, so I suppose we will take today to do so. We shall be on our own way out tomorrow. Naruto's grin softened into a real smile. No rest for us at the top, huh? Gaara had walked over and extended a hand that Naruto accepted and grasped firmly. Shaking Naruto's hand before pulling away, Gaara smiled. Good thing I have a lot of practice. Missing Temari shaking her head at his joke, a new team was waiting at the door for them. A rougher-looking group, Gaara and his siblings turned to leave. Make sure to come and see us off. Naruto waved him off. We will. I gotta have a word with the Konoha group anyway. Or at least with Team 7. Who should be just outside waiting, having escorted the Suna group here. Naruto turned to Ino and Hinata. Guess I should head to my own office and get some work done, huh? Ino was the first to grab hold of one of his hands and start dragging him along. Oh, don't start whining now. If you use your clones you can make it quick and then we can go relax or something. Naruto started walking and fell into step with her, Hinata on his other side. Who says I didn't do that already? Both girls turned to look at him quietly. If I have the technique, why wouldn't I use it? Hinata just sighed. We should have figured that. Ino nodded, but this means that it should be just a quick check-in and then we can head out. I'm sure Billboard Brow would love to see us. Naruto, maybe. You can get lost, Ino pig. Team 7 was waiting just outside of his office, Kotohime chatting with Kakashi. Sakura was already turning to point accusingly at Ino, who herself was smirking at the pink-haired girl. No matter what, you can't steal my husband. I've got the better option anyway. Oh, I can guarantee. No, you don't. Naruto and Sasuke leveled exasperated looks at each other as if to say, control your woman, and, you first, to each other. It was Hinata who came to the rescue, smacking Ino as she walked by to open the door. Can we not start a fight within the first 30 seconds of seeing each other? Naruto was the first to retreat into his office, waving off En and Neji who were watching over a bored-looking clone next to a stack of finished paperwork. We have our system. Ino was still smirking at Sakura. Aha, still waiting on that spar. Anytime tiny. Sakura was quick to cross her arms over her chest as they all filed inside, as if that matters at all. Naruto was rolling his eyes at the argument as he walked around his desk. Anything crazy? The clone just shook his head. Nope, though Kayuki is on her way. Train stopped in not long ago and one of the seal monitors sent us the warning. Naruto nodded as the clone dispersed, sending him its memories. Doesn't seem to be an emergency, maybe she's bringing an update about the airship project. Sitting down and waiting as everyone else either took a seat or stood somewhere, Kotohime sat on one edge of his desk while Hinata stood directly next to him and Ino chatted away with Sakura. So, no chance I can convince you three to come to Izu for good. Sasuke shrugged, earning a look from Kakashi. If it wasn't for Kakashi-sensei I seriously might. Sakura pointed a finger at him. We'd have to bring my parents. Sakura nodded at that. Well, anyway. You convince Shizune to come and Kakashi will make the move too. Sighing at being ignored, Kakashi raised a hand. You all do know I'm right here, right? Naruto and Sasuke looked at him before turning back to each other. Naruto grinning, I'll get to work on Shizune. Sasuke grinned, see that you do. I'm not domesticated like that. Waving a hand in front of her face, Sakura was ready to remove that idea from his head. You haven't touched your precious book ever since you've been with her. And you've been taking better care of yourself. Even socialize more. You're domestic. Naruto chuckled, might as well give it up Kakashi-sensei. I'll have you here in no time. Kakashi shrugged, if it happens it happens. Rather than continuing to think on how he would tempt his former team to his nation, Naruto turned to Kotohime. So, what do you think about being an ambassador to Kiri? Kotohime raised a delicate eyebrow, and get to visit the lovely Mizukage on the regular. That could be enjoyable. It would let her stretch her legs a bit, though she would have to be without Naruto for weeks at a time. She'd have to consider that. Naruto was suddenly having second thoughts about the deal, even if Kotohime and Mei got along great. It's just to make sure things continue to go smoothly between our two nations. That's all. Not that she would listen. No. Kotohime had her own objectives that usually involved making sure Naruto was almost constantly tired. Happy, but tired. Nodding and trailing a finger along the desk, Kotohime was all smiles, of course. Not that she would listen. Oh no, that Mei woman would see things her way. Oh yes, she would. Turning to Hinata and doing his best not to shudder at the chill working down his spine, Naruto switched mental tracks. Did Karen or Taiuya have a chance to mark on a map where the other sound bases are? Yes, we can make for them at any time. Hinata had seen the eager looks on the other girls' faces and knew these next missions were going to be quick. They are determined to see this through. I bet. I'm thinking for the sound base located in Wind we should include Temari or Kankuro since it is their nation. So, maybe you and Karen with one of them. And then for the sound base located in Lightning, maybe Taiuya and the Jugo squad. They were all going to call Naruto in with their Horatian seals when they got close, so he could be his usual heavy hitter self and evacuate prisoners. Hinata had a finger to her chin as she thought about the arrangements. He was correct that Temari would most likely want to have a go at one of the sound bases within her own country. That is of course if Gaara wasn't stuck to his desk. I think that's a good plan. I'm assuming we'll be using the relocated aid station in Wave. Seeing Naruto nod, Hinata voices another question. What about Orochimaru's main base? Grin becoming something feral, Naruto started to chuckle. Oh, Jirabu is going to lead me right to him. So long as there aren't any prisoners there, that job will be quick. Sakura and Sasuke shuddered a bit. I thought we were free of that laugh. Sakura nodded. It's somehow even more creepy. Kakashi sighed. You're both so dramatic. Though he did level a bored eye towards Naruto, it is a little creepy. Bah, you're all no fun. Naruto felt a small shift of chakra from Neji and looked back to see his Byakugan active. Something up. Apologies, I didn't recognize Lady Kayuki at first. His eyes shifted from the door to Kotohime and back quickly. She's here by the way. Along with my team escorting her. Naruto grinned. I doubt that was necessary, but thanks. Everyone's attention was to the door as it opened and a brightly smiling woman dressed in a blue and red kimono breezed her way inside. Kayuki. Naruto. She nearly leapt through the air to get to him faster, but she restrained herself. There were people besides family here after all. You've been busy, so I decided to come visit instead. She was already coming around to his side of the desk to snuggle into his lap. Behind her, Kana and Jin take up positions on either side of the door, quietly nodding towards their team leader across the room. Slightly embarrassed but rolling with it, Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Sorry. Maybe we should just move you here full time. Oh, that's just wonderful, but I have an update for you as well. Kayuki pulled a folder from her kimono. The Spring engineers would like to send 4 airships from Spring to Rizushio next week. Your landing pads here have been completed, yes. Naruto nods. The one on the tower is a few days from being done, while all of the pads at the fortress are complete. So they're free to send them. Laying her head on his shoulder, Kayuki giggles. That's great. Why don't you send a clone to tell them? It'll be faster. Naruto, however, is a little caught off guard. Not that I'm complaining, but aren't you being a little more affectionate than normal? Which he wasn't complaining. Besides a few scattered visits, they really hadn't seen each other much recently. It was part of way they had taken that last vacation. He knew they were all going to get busy. You know, I can't explain it, but I just really missed you is all. Kayuki hadn't thought about her behavior at all because it just felt so natural. A lot of things had been off lately. Naruto just shrugged as he looked to Kotohime. Guess we'll need to let Tazuna and Tsunami know so we don't cause a panic or anything. Also pass along the message to our own civilians. Will do. Kotohime made the mental note to pass along the information to everyone relevant. Sasuke, however, sat up a bit and leaned forward. So, since we're here, how about a spar? That had Naruto's attention. Oh, the chance to pound you into the dirt. Why would I pass that up? We're a lot stronger now, Naruto. Sakura was flexing her fists at him, to which his grin began to widen. Tsunade taught me some tricks. Oh ho, I get to add Sannin apprentices to my list of people I've smacked around. Yes. Naruto looked up to Kakashi. You getting in on this? Might as well. I would be good to see your progress. Plus he needed the workout. Maybe some practice with his eye would show some results. Naruto looked up to Kotohime. Think the north side training ground is free. Kotohime rolled her eyes. Naruto was a big fan of regularly tearing apart the landscape. He did so on such a regular basis that they had pretty much designated the north side as his own personal training ground. No one questioned it either. He was the only one who seemed to think others were suicidal enough to use it when he wasn't there. It's free. Naruto whooped and turned to his old team. Then you're on. Then afterwards we can get some ramen like old times. I wondered where Ayami had gone. Sakura spoke up as Sasuke was already playing with his sword a bit in anticipation. I shouldn't be surprised. If anything, be surprised I didn't convince Tsuki to leave too. I don't mess around with my ramen. Naruto nodded sagely before looking out over his shoulder. We might as well get a move on if we wanna do this. In his lap, Kayuki took some coaxing, but she did eventually stand and move next to Kotohime, who herself was a bit sluggish to get up from the desk as well. Naruto noticed this, as did everyone else. You okay, Kotohime? Fine, just been feeling off lately is all. Might have caught a bug. Which would be odd. She was usually so careful about such things. Neji, however, seemed to know something, blushing as he stepped forward. You should probably go and see Lady Karen soon. You as well, Lady Kayuki. Both girls raised eyebrows at that, though it was Kotohime who spoke up first. And why is that? She missed Hinata and Kana both activating their own eyes for a moment, before Hinata squealed. What? Kotohime had all of a second before she was nearly tackled by the shorter woman. What? Hinata could only grin. Let the boys go beat each other into the dirt. We have something to go do. Ino. Grab Kayuki. Ino knew that tone of voice. That was the, I know something important, voice. Nodding, she was up and dragging Kayuki behind Kotohime and Hinata, on it. Kotohime, however, was now really confused. Why are we going to Karen now? Surely she's busy and it isn't that important. Hinata was shaking her head. This is very important, you'll see. Come on. Ino nodded. You heard her. She's gotta have a good reason. They were all making their way through the doorway and soon out of sight. Leaving behind a mostly confused group, the two Hotaru members seemed to know something, which was bugging Naruto as he turned to Neji. "Wanna clue me in?" "It's not my business, Lord Naruto. But it has to do with Kotohime's health, right?" "She'll be fine, Lord Naruto. Trust Hinata-sama." Naruto grumbled, "I feel like I'm missing something important here." Sakura thought about it for a minute as she looked to Neji and then back to the other former Hyuga woman. They both had activated their eyes along with Hinata before said girl started to freak out. What could their eyes have seen that would have had the smaller girl so happy looking? The older women were talking about feeling off, sluggish, something to do with chakra networks if the Byakugan could detect it. The light bulb went off in her head like a supernova. "You boys beat the shit out of each other without me. Wait up, Hinata." And then she was gone, running down the hallway after the retreating group. Naruto turned to Sasuke slowly. "Did we just get ditched?" Sasuke nodded as he looked at the doorway his girlfriend had just disappeared through. "Yes. And somehow I just know this is your fault. Not everything weird that happens is my fault. It's pretty close though." Naruto considered that, because a lot of weird or crazy things did happen around him on a regular basis. "You know what? I blame my dad for making me a Jinchuriki." That seemed reasonable. "I like to blame your father all the time as well. Really eases the heart. Somehow I don't think we do it for the same reason. In the end, it's still his fault." "True." Standing and stretching as if he hadn't just been goofing off, Naruto pointed to the door. "Well then, let's get a move on and see who's improved the most. Maybe we can call up the rest of the Konoha group. Bet they'd get a kick out of Uzushio proper." Naruto didn't mind bring the rest in now. Sai had been the one to worry about and that one was now below the tower knocked out in a cell. The rest could be trusted. Besides, once Danzo was dead, Konoha could be an ally for real. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.